Well, the federal budget contains plenty of economic assumptions, and we know how that sometimes ends up. One of the biggest is the sharp falls in the price of iron ore and coal. Joining me now is our business reporter, Edward Boyd. Ed, commodity prices has been one of those great stories for any treasurer in the last couple of budgets. Is this about, I guess, not over-promising, but over-delivering at budget time? It's a little bit of change in the back pocket.
Definitely. Look, I think that's the case, Laura, particularly for this federal budget that was just laid down last night. So one of the big assumptions in the budget is commodity prices, which are incredibly high at the moment, particularly coal. Iron ore is about 150 a tonne, but coal is at record highs. The expectation is the price is going to start falling sharply from now until September. And if that's probably very unlikely to happen. So the outlook for commodity prices is very strong, particularly coal and iron ore. So if prices stay elevated until September and then start to fall from September onwards until March, so this time next year, the budget will be about $135 billion better off. So GDP will be boosted by $135 billion on those commodity prices. The government themselves will get almost $30 billion extra in tax receipts. And this is something that I think is definitely going to happen. I think commodity prices are going to stay really strong. But the other interesting thing from that outlook, Laura, is they are predicting the price of oil to remain at $100 a barrel long term. And what that means is petrol prices are going to stay high and inflation is going to stick around in Australia's economy. And just looking at the expectations this morning, because the expectation is there'll be 7 interest rate rises this year for the Australian economy from the Reserve Bank. So that's a sure sign that inflation's here to stay, and the RBA is going to be lifting interest rates very, very soon.
Yeah, and these payments are just short-term measures as well, so we see how that ends up. Before I get to Andy Penn, because that's another big story this morning, what about the commodity story? In a big way, coal and iron ore saved the budget again and is paying for these cash handouts.
Absolutely. Look, these are some of Australia's biggest exports and our biggest earners. And when the price of coal, the price of metallurgical coal is more than $500 a tonne, it's a huge win for the Australian economy. Obviously, iron ore did very, very well last year and has come back a little bit, but it's still at 150 a tonne, which is particularly high. And Treasury expected to fall to 55 a tonne by September. And I think it's pretty clear that that is not going to happen. The only commodity that they know is going to stay elevated is oil. And oil prices are currently 114 US a barrel. Treasury expect oil to stay at 100 a barrel for the next year. And that's really due to the situation in Ukraine, and a lot of countries are refusing to buy Russia's oil. The price is going to stay elevated for that reason.
Okay, Telstra Chief Executive Andy Penn is stepping down. He's been there for 7 years. Why is he stepping down now, and who is going to replace him?
So he's stepping down after more than 7 years in the role. It's a pretty long stint for a chief executive. He says he's going to be retiring, and he's really led the company through a huge transformation. He launched the T22 strategy a few years ago, which resulted in the business being split up into different sections and them spinning off certain assets such as Infracro, which is 49% interest in all of their phone coverage towers around Australia. That gave Telstra almost $3 billion in cash. And they also cut a substantial amount of costs out of the company, which did result in a lot of redundancies at Telstra over that time period. But he's being replaced by the Chief Financial Officer, Vicki Brady. So she joined Telstra in 2016. She's had a number of roles at Telstra, including Head of Strategy. She's currently, though, the CFO. One of the big strategies that she's helped develop with Andy Penn is the T25 strategy, which is this continuation of the transforming of Telstra over the next couple of years until 2025. So Andy Penn will step down later this year. Vicki Brady will take over on the 1st of September in about 6 months' time, and she'll lead the company from here on in. But salary is about $2.4 million, and then she has the ability to earn up to $7 million each year in bonuses, assuming she meets these very strict targets that have been set for her. So a pretty good gig for her.
Yeah, sounds pretty nice. Ed, finally, before I let you go, how did the market open? It's been open for about half an hour now.
Markets open higher, up about 0.6% in early trade. Company to watch this morning's Fortescue Metals, because they've put themselves into a trading halt. So there must be some big announcement coming from Twiggy's business, Fortescue Metals. So I keep my eye on that as that goes on throughout the morning.
Oh, okay. Eagle eye. Thanks so much, Ed. We'll speak soon.